Welcome to the Better Eye Health Podcast with Damon P. Miller II, MD. This particular podcast is an excerpt from the weekly conference calls. Dr. Miller focuses on different topics connected to the Better Eye Health program. The topic of this session is about the Better Eye Health Basic Protocol, focusing this time on the mineral supplements. Here is Dr. Miller.
Today we're going to talk about the liquid minerals, the humic minerals, fulvic minerals. Those words, humic and fulvic, they all come from the same source. They come from ancient peat sources or ancient vegetable sources that are mined, actually. They're from hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years ago. And there's a water extraction done. And when you extract that kind of ancient organic material, it's very rich in chelated nutrients, especially minerals, also some amino acids, and also some compounds that, believe it or not, assist with the health of your gut, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But there are two fractions when you do the water extraction. There is a fraction that is called a colloidal fraction, and so there are basically two versions of this. There's what's called Vitality Boost HA, and that's not the first bottle of stuff we send you, but I encourage people to get a sample of that and try it. It's a little more robust. It has more in it. It costs the same. But some people find it a little off-putting because it's quite dark and it looks like humus. And so you get this colloidal. Colloidal means tiny little particles that are so fine that they go into suspension, but they don't settle out with gravity. And then there's also the part that is actually solubles that goes into a real true solution. And if you filter out the colloidal particles and just have the stuff that's in a true solution, that's the fulvic minerals, and that's called Energy Boost. And that's what we send in the first bottle we send you with the home study program. The minerals are really one of the more critical things in the program. And the reason I say that, I don't do a lot of testing with people who come into the office. I used to do a lot more. And we can have that discussion in another talk, why I don't do as much laboratory testing as I used to. But when I did do more laboratory testing, the one thing that almost everybody was off on was their levels of minerals, levels of healthy minerals. Our foods are devoid of a lot of vitamins and minerals, especially minerals. Our water, which used to have a high mineral content when it came from artesian wells or flowing water, water that comes from reservoirs or worse, is very devoid of minerals. And so all of the places where we used to get minerals in our diet, our food and our water, they don't have many minerals anymore. And that has a lot of consequences. If you have an eye disease, one thing that was learned 50 years ago was that people with eye diseases are low in minerals, especially zinc. And there's a real benefit to slowing the process of these diseases. And it's interesting because in the ARED study, the age-related eye disease study, the study that's quoted a lot about showing the need for vitamins for people with these degenerative eye diseases, they didn't study minerals at all. And if they were, they would find a lot of benefit from minerals. But doctors just don't pay much attention to minerals. I'm a doctor. That's how I know that. You never taught much about minerals testing. Most doctors don't even know how to test minerals, really. And so the minerals are important. We're all quite low in them. We need them. One of the ways to know that you're low in minerals, really low in minerals, is if you have problems with, say, muscle cramps. You wake up at night with muscle cramps, or after you exercise you get muscle cramps, or even during the day for no good reason, suddenly your muscles all cramp up in your legs or your arms or your back or your neck. That means, among other things, that you're probably very low in minerals. If you're having a lot of trouble with constipation, you're probably low in minerals. If you have a heart arrhythmia, you're probably low in minerals. If you're having any kind of a peripheral neuropathy, you might be low in minerals. And the converse is true. Taking a good quality mineral supplement and taking it for some period of time, refilling your tank with minerals may help all of the problems I just named. And it's important to remember that you can't correct a significant mineral deficiency overnight. You can only get minerals into your body so fast, and it's important that you take the minerals regularly. And we recommend that you take them away from all other food or other supplements. So the mineral supplement, one way to do it is to take it at bedtime. You're not usually having any other food then, or take it first thing in the morning. When you first stumble into the kitchen after you've gotten up in the morning, take your ounce of minerals with some water, and by the time you do get around to making a cup of tea or having breakfast or anything like that, it'll be well on its way and kept separate from the other things you're eating or drinking. I said there was some things in the minerals. They're actually in both the fulvic and the humic minerals, in both the energy boost and the vitality boost. But there are substances that you can find in soil that's living, and you can also find unchanged in soil that's quite ancient. And these substances regulate, the reason they're there is they regulate the bacterial populations of the soil. So living soil, bacteria are very critical. Plants don't grow in dead soil. But the same is true in your gut. Your gut and soil are actually very similar, and these substances that come from the soil that were there to regulate the genome or the living population of things that are in the soil, they also regulate the living population of things that are in your gut, and they do that quite effectively. And when I say regulate, they actually do more than that. One of the consequences of all of the antibiotic residues in food from industrial agriculture, the overuse of antibiotics in medicine, and even the antibiotic residues that come through the tap because our public water supplies don't filter those out. All of just the antibiotics alone really upset the biome, the population of living biological things in our gut. And the consequence of that is that a healthy gut, somebody who's not taking antibiotics, not exposed to antibiotic residues or pollution, somebody with a healthy biome may have 20,000 different bugs living in their gut, 20,000. And we have 10 trillion bugs living in our gut. I mean, the bugs living in our gut outnumber our living cells by 10 to 1 easily. But the biome in our gut, where a healthy biome has 20,000, if you've had a lot of antibiotics in your life, if you're eating food that's contaminated with antibiotic residues, you may have just 1,000 or 2,000. And these things that are in the energy boost and the vitality boost, these things in the minerals, actually help to increase the number and the variety of things living in your gut if you take them on a regular basis for a long time, for months and months. And that's a good thing. That's a desirable thing. That's not why we use these products. That's something that kind of we discovered later on after we'd been using them for years, but it is a very useful thing, and that's why we will never probably change these products. We will continue to use them. The other thing, if you read the vitamin bottle, the liquid vitamins, it says vitamins and minerals, and there are a few minerals in there, but those minerals are of very little use to you or anybody else. Manufacturers mix vitamins in vitamin and mineral supplements, whether liquid or capsules or pills, because people like an all-in-one product. It looks good. It's very appealing that all I have to do is open this one bottle every day, and that will give me everything I need. But there's something called best manufacturing practices, and best manufacturing practices would say don't mix vitamins and minerals in the same product. The reason for that is that minerals are quite reactive. And so in those liquid vitamins, the minerals that are in there react with the fat-soluble vitamins, the vitamin A, the vitamin D, the vitamin E, the vitamin K, by a spontaneous process called saponification, which forms these insoluble complexes that you can't absorb. And so, yes, there are minerals in those liquid vitamins, but almost all of them end up in the toilet because you can't absorb any of them. And so it looks good on paper, it doesn't work well in practice, and that's why we insist that you take a separate mineral supplement on top of the vitamin supplement, even though the vitamin supplement does say it has some minerals in it. So I don't know, there is a freeze-dried version of the minerals. If you travel a lot and you don't want to carry a lot of bulky liquids with you, that's called Immune Boost. That's something that we can supply for you. But there aren't really very many good separate mineral products on the market. a lot of the mineral products on the market are actually extracted from the beds of old seas and oceans. And that is one place to get minerals. The problem with that is that particular source of minerals, the beds of old seas and oceans, has a much, much higher concentration of heavy metals. Those things tend to get concentrated in bodies of water, and they don't get concentrated in these ancient plant sources. So you do get, and those are much cheaper too, so you do get mineral products that are derived from shale or from the bottoms of old ancient seas, but those have far too much lead, mercury, cadmium, tin, on, and I don't like those, so we don't use those. So if you have questions about the minerals, email us, and we can include that in one of our question sessions in coming talks, or you can just ask a question today during the Q&A, question and answer period.
Tune in for more podcasts and other presentations. Go to www.bettereyehealth.com. There is hope for sight.